December 25th, 1983 was no ordinary Christmas. While millions of presents under American trees contained the same old basketballs, dolls, and sneakers, there was something new and exciting in the mix. The Coleco Adam, one of the most coveted home computers of its time. There was just one problem, and it was completely Coleco's own making. After families up and down the country finished an entire day of zapping spaceships in the pseudo 3D playfield of Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom, they naturally powered down the computer and slipped into sweet dreams of lasers, robots, and shooting stars. But when they turned on the Coleco the next morning for more adventures with Buck, the tape refused to load. Turn it off and on again, nothing. Take out the tape to inspect it, no visible damage. Read the manual from cover to cover, to no avail. No matter how hard people tried, they couldn't figure out what was wrong. To complicate matters, even the Coleco helpline was busy. But for those who had the smart idea to call the author of the manual, all was revealed. Unfortunately, the truth wasn't very Christmassy. Good afternoon. I'm calling to report an issue with my Coleco Adam. My son, he keeps trying to boot up his game, but the system refuses to read the tape. Are we doing something wrong?
Oh, you too, huh? Well, you must be my 300th phone call this week.
It turned out the issue had nothing to do with user error. Timmy had not accidentally dropped the Adam while his parents weren't looking. In fact, the problem wasn't even isolated to their particular console. The danger was directly tied to the normal workflow that the machine itself encouraged. Within just a few weeks, the buzz around the Adam turned into sheer confusion, dissatisfaction, and even mockery. The highly anticipated home computer achieved near overnight notoriety for reports that its own power-up behavior could erase data on digital data packs left in or near the drive. To make matters worse, the manual itself even urged users to put the tape in the drive before turning the computer on. So, what was the issue? That came in the form of a perfect storm between the proprietary digital data pack and the letter quality printer, both of which were meant to drive sales as USPs. Unfortunately for Coleco, that drive came in reverse gear. The DDP was a unique feature of the Adam, designed to make use of modified cassette tapes for storage. Most other systems at that time used unmodified tape mechanisms, but the DDP allowed the Adam to run tapes 10 times as fast. Not only that, but it provided users with the rare ability to rewind and fast forward. Conventional cassette systems ran at around 0.12 kbytes per second, but the Adam could reach 1.4. That still placed it slower than most floppy disk systems, but a whole lot faster than standard cassettes. At the same time of design, Coleco chose the DDP over floppy drives or standard cassettes due to cost, speed, and vertical integration, as well as an ambition to undercut the IBM PC Junior and the Apple IIe. The Adam also used AdamNet, a proprietary 62.5 kbit half-duplex serial bus to connect the tape drives, printer, and keyboard. It served as a shared network for up to 16 devices, similar to the Apple desktop bus. Unfortunately for Coleco, their downfall would come threefold. It turned out that the Adam would generate a surge of electromagnetic energy on startup caused by unshielded tape motors, an EMP surge capable of erasing the contents of any tapes left in the system. In fact, it could erase media even left nearby to the drive. A sensitivity to static electricity was symptomatic of the technology of the era, and it also caused issues with the earlier ColecoVision. Many computers at the time were susceptible to electrostatic discharge (ESD). Not only did this create data wipe errors, but it also impacted the controller port pins, resulting in constant ghost button presses. As if that wasn't problematic enough, Coleco made the strange decision to keep the Adam's power supply inside the printer, not the computer unit itself. That made the printer mandatory to any Adam purchase, and if the printer's power failed, the Adam failed. The third major issue came in the form of tapes themselves. At the time of the design, tapes were used en masse across the world as the most popular data storage medium for home users. Blank data packs were supplied pre-formatted, and the Adam could not format its own blank tapes. This meant that if a tape was corrupted, which they often were, it could not be reformatted by the Adam itself. And because the tapes were not standard issue, users couldn't even swap the standard cassettes as replacements. Unfortunately, by the time of release, there was a new medium in town. Enter the floppy disk. After the drop in costs, floppy disk became the preferred option for many users, especially since they were more reliable and faster than even the cutting-edge digital data pack. In fact, the timing was so bad that Coleco eventually released a 160 kilobyte 5.25-inch disk drive for the Adam in what was a thinly veiled admission of poor judgment. When Coleco had announced the Adam at the CES in June 1983, it was met with industry buzz. Early orders were planned for August, in time for the Christmas rush, and executives predicted sales of 500,000 by December 25th. The optics looked incredible for Coleco. Despite pricing the Adam at around $525 USD, it was commended for matching the cost of a budget letter-quality printer, let alone all the extras that came with an Adam. Unfortunately, early models were allegedly shown behind tinted glass to hide the fact that they were handmade and did not have working tape drives. The company also revealed that they would not ship units to magazines planning to publish reviews before Christmas. Coleco went on to miss their first 4 shipment dates. By the time December rolled around, Coleco had shipped just 95,000 Adams, and the price had increased from $525 to $725. That's comparable to $2,350 today. Coleco was forced to open repair chains across America to deal with the alarming return rate. While Coleco ensured that less than 10% of systems were defective, the evidence appeared to say otherwise. One store revealed that 5 of the 6 Adams they had sold had been returned. In January 1984, JCPenney canceled all Adam orders after many of the first 500 machines failed quality tests. 2 months later in March, respected industry reviewer John J. Anderson accused Coleco of making a trail of broken promises, unfulfilled expectations, and extremely skittish stockholders. On the 2nd of January 1985, Coleco announced it was discontinuing the Adam. The company reported losses of $35 million in late 1983, as well as another $13.4 million in 1984. Some sources say the company's total losses of $258 million were largely due to the failure of the Adam. In 1988, as Coleco struggled to recover from the Adam disaster and the public demand for its other popular product, Cabbage Patch dolls, waned, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. From pioneering technology to erase tapes to an erase company, Coleco thrived in 1983, but failed to survive just 5 years later. Flush with cash from the successful ColecoVision's game console and Cabbage Patch Kids mania, Coleco had embarked on an ambitious adventure to become a full-spectrum electronics company. The Adam was built as the flagship to sell Coleco into that market, only for an iceberg to sink it within a matter of months. To this day, Coleco remains a near-perfect example of the difference between building a game console and creating a home computer. Coleco wanted to reap the rewards of vertical integration without dedicating time to the engineering discipline to support it. Perhaps the best example of this comes in the form of one of Coleco's early solutions to the erasure bug, simply shipping Adams with a sticker warning users against leaving tapes inside. While Coleco may be a distant memory and the Adam lingers as a ghost of Christmas past, there is still a strong community of dedicated enthusiasts who celebrate the tech. The fans continue to develop new hardware and software for the Adam to this day, including hard drives and SD readers. If only Coleco had given it the same love and affection back in 1983.